This is a recording for the book Our Golden State, but before we do that, there's an introduction to a very effective summarizing template. So it goes like this: summarize, explain, connect, a 3-step process. Before you get to step 2 and step 3, you need to be able to do step 1. Summarizing is one of the hardest skills for students to do, yet it is one of the most effective skills to build reading comprehension the fastest. So that's what we're going to focus on. Here's how it works. The reader reads 1 or 2 paragraphs and then asks. So this is perfect for partner interaction. You have partners face each other, but you can do this at home with anyone in your family. So step 1 is summarize. One person will respond, "What is the author saying?" And then you have to respond in this exact manner. The author is saying, so after reading 1 or 2 paragraphs, just summarize what the author said. Remember, someone wrote this book. Or actually, a lot of people wrote it. Step 2 gets a little more difficult, more challenging. Explain. What does this mean? This means, so after summarizing, basically repeating back what the author said, but not in 5 or 10 sentences, maybe in 1 or 2, you explain it in your own words. And the easiest way to do this, if you're a 4th grader, think of how would you explain this to a 2nd grader? If you were an 8th grader, how would you explain this to a 4th grader? And then most importantly, what I like the most is connect. What does this information remind you of? They call it text to self. This reminds me, this is where personal stories come in. Anything that's happened in your life, anything that you've experienced. It could be other readings that you've encountered, other stories from other classes. But practice this 3-step process for every single paragraph that you do. I do this in class a lot live with students partnered up, but it's something that takes a while. But first you have to start with this. And if summarizing is hard for you, just start with 2 to 3 key words that would summarize that paragraph, the most important ones. But this will always be referenced to for every recording because this is informational text. And informational text is all about summarizing. So let's go into the second lesson. We just did the first lesson the other day. Let's go to lesson 2, chapter 1, page 20. Title. Everyone point to the title. California's resources. Keywords: natural resource, non-renewable resource, mineral, petroleum, renewable resource, conservation, recycle, alternative energy. And make sure that you read the standards. It's important to look at all the maps. Anytime they give you maps or illustrations, it relates to what's happening. Now, right away when you jump out, make sure you know when new paragraphs start. So a new paragraph is when it's indented. Notice all those key words. The author already highlighted them for you. And if you preview the text a little more, you scan, you look at pictures, and then you see how long it is. And this one's a little longer than the other one. So let's get going. But keep in mind, summarize, explain, connect. California's resources. Sorry about that. The environment is the surroundings in which we live. It is the mountains and streams, the air and the soil, the animals and the plants. People, like you, are also part of the environment. Now, if you ever get overwhelmed, you can do this trick and cover it up. Okay, so you can take it 1 paragraph at a time. So let's do that to simplify it. Topic: California's environment. Keyword, keyword. Title, topic. Paragraph 1. The environment shapes how we live. We also shape the environment. We use trees for wood and paper. We farm rich soil for food. Moving on, paragraph number 2. Notice how it's indented again. 1, 2. Trees and soil are only 2 of the natural resources found in California's environment. A natural resource is something found in the environment that people can use. California is rich in natural resources. Paragraph 3. Another one of our resources is water. Some of our water comes from reservoirs, which are artificial lakes used to store water. So that's a definition of reservoirs. Notice how they put the comma there. Some comes from rivers. Much of it comes from underground. Moving on. Next topic, limited resources. Again, so you don't feel overwhelmed, just take it one paragraph at a time. You can see that it indents right there. So this would be paragraph 1, 2, 3, paragraph 4. Limited resources. Some resources are non-renewable resources. Non-renewable means there is a limited supply. Minerals are non-renewable resources. Minerals are natural materials found in the earth, such as rocks and metals. Next paragraph. Oil or petroleum is another mineral. Oil is also a fuel. Sorry about the movement. A fuel is something used to produce energy. Oil is made into gasoline to power the engines of cars and trucks. Oil is a non-renewable resource, so there is a limited supply. Next paragraph, see how it's indented? Unlimited resources. Some of California's natural resources are renewable resources. Renewable means that something can be replaced. Fresh water is a renewable resource. When it rains or snows, fresh water falls to earth. Soil is another renewable resource, but soil can wear out if it's overused. Water, too, can run out if we use more than the rivers and lakes can hold. So here's the question they tell you right away, compare and contrast. So 2 of the fastest ways and the best ways to improve your reading comprehension is to summarize and to compare. Practice summarizing and comparing and your reading comprehension skyrockets. So it says describe one renewable and one non-renewable resource. Answer's right there. Moving on. You have a picture on page 22. So everyone go to page 22. You have a geothermal power plant. So it shows how energy is being processed so all your cell phones and computers and lights can work. And it gives an explanation right there. Next topic, using resources wisely. Conservation is the protection of natural resources. Remember, next paragraph. You conserve water when you use just enough for what you need. You conserve paper when you use both sides of a sheet. Another way to protect resources is to recycle. To recycle means to use something again instead of throwing it away. You can recycle metal cans, glass, plastic, and more. Next paragraph. See how it's indented? John Muir recognized the importance of conservation. He wanted to protect California's environment. You will read more about John later in this chapter. Moving on. Next column. In history books, they do a lot of this 2-column stuff. So you go right over here. Next column. New paragraph. New topic. California energy. Point to the blue words. With over 35 million people, California has the largest population of any state. It's big. Californians use less energy per person than almost any state. California's energy comes from oil and natural gas. Natural gas is a kind of gas found underground that can be used to make electricity. Oil and natural gas are non-renewable resources. Next paragraph. To meet rising energy needs, more oil and natural gas power plants are being built. These non-renewable resources will eventually run out. These fuels, especially oil, pollute the air. These are 2 reasons why fuel must be used wisely. Moving on. Next page. See the next page. Picture down below. Using energy. More than 1/4 of California's energy comes from renewable resources. Energy produced from renewable resources is called alternative energy. Alternative means something that is different from what is most common. Alternative energy releases little or no pollution. Next paragraph. Geothermal power is a kind of alternative energy. The word thermal, break it down. Therm means heat, al like related to, means heat, and geo means earth. We're studying those. Geothermal power comes from the hot water or steam beneath the Earth's surface. Study the diagram on page 22. So go to page 22. Study it. To find out how geothermal power is used to make electricity. Today, 46 of California's 58 counties use geothermal energy in some form. New paragraph was started. Moving out. That was a short paragraph. Look, one sentence. Why? Because, actually it continues. Not a new paragraph. Notice how it's not indented. So same paragraph. California's geothermal power plants produce about half of the world's geothermal powered electricity. Next paragraph. See how it's indented? Wind is another alternative energy source. Windmills pump water from deep wells to the surface. Today, large windmills are called wind turbines. Many turbines produce electricity. Wind turbines are placed together on wind farms in places where the wind is usually strong. California has about 14,000 wind turbines. One large turbine can produce enough electricity to power a school. If all of California's wind farms were put together, they would produce enough electricity to power San Francisco. So here's the key word. Summarize. Name 3 ways energy is produced in California. 1, 2. Find the third. Last page. Protecting the environment. Next paragraph. You know about conserving resources such as water and fuel and recycling materials instead of throwing them away. With your help, California's environment can stay strong and healthy. Next paragraph. An easy saying to remember is to 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduce the amount of resources you use by buying products packaged in recycled materials. Then, reuse what you own instead of throwing it away. Last, recycle what you don't reuse. Try to throw away less. A fun game to play is to see how little trash you can throw away each week. Next paragraph. Spread the word that California's environment is worth protecting. Later in life, you will be glad you did. Next question. Notice it's cause and effect. What are 3 ways you can help to protect our environment? I gave you 3 right there in general. What you have learned. So now it summarizes. So 1, 2, 3 paragraphs. Why is that important? There was 1 page, 2, 3, 4 pages. So when you summarize 4 pages, it should probably be 1 paragraph a page, or maybe less than 1 a page. So here's the quick summary. California's environment is rich in natural resources. Californians use renewable and non-renewable resources such as trees, soil, water, and minerals to help them live. Remember, use a piece of paper if you need to. Conserving resources such as water and fuel are important ways you can help protect California's environment. California's energy comes from non-renewable sources and from alternative sources such as wind and geothermal power. Reduce, reuse, and recycle and tell others to do the same. Now, there's lots of questions at the end which are important and are not important. Why? Because for Lesson 2, California's resources, if you slow down your reading and for every paragraph, or if you're getting really fast, for every 2, you go through this format, you will be an amazing summarizer. And most importantly, you'll be able to explain this information to someone else and make constant connections. Practice this daily. Later.